Hey you guys, welcome back to the Secret Garden Homestead. It's been a while since I've posted a video, and that's just because this month has been crazy. Our homeschooling year is coming to an end and Ryan's work has picked up, so we really haven't done much on the homestead the past month. But with that, we've often spent a lot of time looking out the window and kind of dreaming of the things that we want to do to make our homestead work better for us. And so I thought it'd be really fun to do a video because we're only on about an acre. What we can actually accomplish, or what I think we can accomplish with an acre, since I know not everyone has a 40-acre farm that they can homestead on. I still think it's possible to homestead with just an acre. So I'm going to walk through the property. You're going to see that we haven't touched it in about a month, and I'm going to share with you all the plans that we have to utilize space and use space efficiently to get the most out of our property. Okay, so if you're new here, my name is Christina, and me and my family homestead in the Bay Area, California, which is Zone 9B, and we have a goal to live off the land and eat seasonally because our growing season is so long. I don't plan to do a ton of preserving, maybe making some jams or pickles and salsa and tomato sauce and things like that, but otherwise I really want to strive to just eat fresh from the garden. And so with that, I am in the front part of our 1 acre, which is our backyard where the kids can play and roam and I can see them. And here is where we have our citrus grove. So in the citrus grove, if you've watched my videos before, I have about 9 or 10 citrus trees ranging from limes to lemons, to mandarins, to tangerines, to oranges. And I think that's it. They're all different varieties based on if I want to juice them or if I want to eat them fresh. And this is just our citrus grove. So we do have another orchard in the back, and I think this takes up probably about 1,000 square feet of our property, which I think is totally worth it because it gets us through the winter with being able to eat, oh, this is a grapefruit, with being able to eat fresh fruit and not have to go to the grocery store to buy fruit. So it's totally worth it. But over here, this eyesore, this is the side part of our yard. The previous owner planted all these trees, I think, to provide privacy, and we're going to go up higher with the fence, so I think we're going to get a lot of privacy with the new fence that we put in. But I was thinking a lot of these trees have died because they haven't been watered properly. I was thinking of removing them and then putting in little planters along the fence and then planting a bunch of blueberries. Here in our Zone 9, I believe that blueberries need more like a dappled sun than they need a full sun. They will get the morning sun, but then they will also get like a dappled afternoon sun, which I think is perfect. This is probably a project for next year because it would require a really long bed. We also need to be able to drive a truck through here, and we'll transplant these roses because I don't want them in the citrus grove. So it would be a pretty narrow bed, but I think it would be able to fit blueberries in here. I also think it'd be really pretty, and so I'm just finding every space possible to be able to plant specific types of foods that I would buy at the grocery store, whether it be in the landscape of our gardens or along fences and things like that. So that's my plan. I think I could probably fit 50 blueberry plants, which would be totally perfect for our family. So that is a dream that I have, that I was thinking as I was looking out the window this past month, where am I going to put blueberries? I think that would be the perfect spot. If you've also watched our channel for any amount of time, you know that our chickens all got attacked by a raccoon and we lost all of them. I think it was like 25 chickens. This is what our chicken coop looks like right now. It is full of weeds and it's totally empty. But we were able to build a chicken coop that could hold about 35 birds. And so I'm really excited. We get our chicks in the mail along with our baby turkeys in June. And so we're going to be filling up the coop again. We're going to be getting it secure, making sure that no raccoons can get in. It's so funny. We live kind of in a mixture of like suburbia, but also farm land. Like a lot of our neighbors have 1 to 2 acres each, and so you just don't think there'd be the amount of predators that we have out here. I think we have like raccoons, we have foxes, we have coyotes, so we do have to be careful even though we are somewhat in suburbia. Okay, on the opposite side of this chicken coop, Ryan built, or is currently building, a duck coop. So we plan to have a duck coop that can hold probably 5 or 6 ducks. And so that's really fun to have 2 different coops is pretty awesome. I'm really excited. It will look similar to our chicken coop, but we don't want it to be identical, so it will have its own little character. But that is a project probably for next year as well, because we're not rushing to get ducks, but definitely a project sooner rather than later. Okay, so our chicken coop and our duck coop, they live on the back part of our property, which we call the back field, because when we bought the property, it was nothing but like an overgrown forest of a field. And so we've done a lot to it, but we still have a lot more to do to it. And one of the things that we're really looking forward to is taking down the old barn and putting up a glass greenhouse. So right here, this is a very old dilapidated barn. In a perfect world, I think it would have been really cool to salvage it, but the wood is so bad. And I don't know if this is exactly where we would want a barn, that we've decided that we're going to take it down. About a year ago, Ryan and I were at an estate sale, and the person who was running the estate sale found a glass greenhouse that was worth like $20,000 on the internet in a box, and they sold it to us for like 1/3 of the cost. So we went ahead and purchased it. It's in our garage, so we're just waiting to get this up. So this area right here, we're gonna turn into, it's probably gonna back up a couple, like 10 or 20 feet. It will be a white glass greenhouse, and then we'll fence it in, and we'll put raised beds all inside. And I think food is really fun to grow. I think when I first started a garden, I was just interested in growing food, but over the years I've been really excited to grow flowers. I want to be someone who has an abundance of flowers, that if someone in my community is getting married, they can come and pick flowers for their wedding. And so I think this space will be half flowers, half food. I'm truly excited about that. So that is a project that we're prioritizing for this year. So look out for that video. It probably will come closer to the fall. If I back away from that barn right there, what I have here is our primary orchard, which when it's all said and done will be about 6,000 square feet. And it probably will hold somewhere between 40 and 50 fruit trees that all mature between the months of May and I want to even say November. I think our last tree or trees to give us fruit would be our Granny Smith apples and our pomegranates. For me, getting our orchard in right when we moved in was the most important thing. So the first thing that we tried to figure out was, where do we want our orchard and where can we plant trees? Because it takes, 4 to 5 years to get those trees mature enough to give us any fruit. I do plan to do a orchard tour for next video. I know I'm missing the month of May so far. I'm usually on the spot with it, but I will have an orchard tour video posted next week. Because we're actually getting fruit, even though we're just a year 2 homestead. But I would highly, highly recommend, if you're just buying your homestead and you even have a small piece of property, to think about the trees that you really like. Maybe even think about when they mature so that you can get fruit throughout the entire year, especially if you're in like zones 8 or 9 or 10. And then get those in the ground, because they do take a long time to establish and produce fruit for you. But once they're established, we're gonna have so much food. I'm so excited to be out here harvesting all the time. Okay, and now this fence that you see right here, this was totally a God thing, because Ryan was gonna spend about 2 to 3 months building this fence, and our neighbor wanted to put it up, and he owned a fence company, and so his guys came out. We told them the type of fence that we wanted. We provided some of the materials. He brought out the labor, and they finally got this beautiful fence up, and Ryan didn't have to spend much time on it at all. So now it's up. It's just a project that's completely off the list. But we are working on a really fun project here. I posted this to my shorts trying to have people guess what we're trying to do. And some of you guys guessed an arbor, and that's what we're going to try to do. So as I mentioned before, I'm trying to find creative ways to use our space efficiently. And this spot right here, these are the arbors on the top, and then there will be raised beds, and we will have to support it because I don't think the fence will be able to hold the weight of all the grapes and all the wood. But we're going to be creative, and we're going to try to have 5 to 6 raised beds for us to go grow grapes in right along this fence. And I think that will be plenty of grapes for us. This felt like such a creative way for us to save space. We're also trying to create moments on the homestead of beauty, and so having a little spot where there's the chickens and having a little spot where there's like that full-on orchard, and then if you look over, I want to add this little seating area in with the grapes, and you can sit down and maybe drink a cup of coffee and grapes are kind of hanging over you. So we're trying to find ways to not only make the homestead functional but also really beautiful, and that takes time. And so oftentimes I can get discouraged, like we're just not getting through projects as fast as I want. But at the end of the day, things that are worth it take time, and so we feel like these little extra details are worth it, and so we're going to take the time to do them. Okay, I'm going to try to walk you back to the back part, but we have not weed eated it. But okay, this is our back area, and if you can't tell, the trees that we have on this property are black walnut. And if you follow anyone like M.I. Gardner, and I think someone else was talking about black walnut trees, they release like a chemical or a toxin in their root structure, also in their walnuts, and I don't remember the name of it, but basically it kills everything around it so that it can preserve itself. And so we have a lot of black walnuts. They're really mature. I don't know if we have the heart to take them down, or at least all of them down. I think we have 4 or 5 of them. And so we have to be really careful what we plant around the black walnuts. What the recommendation is you want to be at least 20 feet away from the black walnuts. So I think what we're going to do over here along this fence line, which is full sun, is put a bunch of greenhouses. So this is where we're going to grow a lot of our crops, our vegetable crops. And so for me, I actually haven't been able to garden, even though we've been on the homestead for 2 years, because we don't have any raised beds or irrigation to this back part of the property. So it's definitely been an exercise in patience and waiting, but that is something that we have in mind for probably not this year, but next year, is getting those greenhouses up so that we can finally start gardening. And then also, probably for next year, something to help us eat down the grass. I am voting for lambs or sheep, and so I would really love to get 2 to 3 to 4 sheep. And our neighbor also has like an empty 1.5 acres next to us, and so it'd be cool if we could lease out their property so that the sheep could graze on that property as well. If you saw one of my most recent videos, you know that my parents have a cattle ranch about 45 minutes away from us. So our beef meat is pretty secure at this point. I think that we have enough grazing space for these sheep to be happy. And so probably year 3 we'll get some sheep. They can eat down the grass, and then we can add another protein source to our ranch. So that would allow us to have beef in our freezer, sheep in our freezer. We'll have chicken in our freezer, as well as turkey in our freezer. So those are kind of the 4 main protein sources that I think that we can actually accomplish here on the homestead. I guess minus the cow, because it's not being raised here. But I still think that you can provide enough protein for your family on just an acre. It's totally possible. Also, somewhere out here we'll probably put a chicken tractor eventually. I haven't mapped that out yet, and if not here, we definitely have space in our we definitely have space in our backyard area, if not the backfield, that we could map out for a chicken tractor. And then all the way to the very back, which I won't walk back there because there's so many thistles here, I have a dream of putting in a berry patch. So there's a huge black walnut back there, and so I have to be really careful about what I plant. But it just turns out that raspberries do super well next to black walnuts. It doesn't seem that that toxin that is released by the black walnut actually affects raspberries. So I'm going to do a whole raspberry patch back there. I'm going to find a good spot to do blackberries, and then in some sort of high tunnel or greenhouse, I'm going to do all our strawberries for the year. And so that will be our little berry patch. I just want to make it so cute where kids can come back there. There's little baskets, they can pick berries. I have so many fond memories of my grandma growing berries, and just she would give us baskets, we'd go pick and just eat, and it was the best. So like I totally want to do that. So that is on the list, probably 2 years away before we get there, because we have to get irrigation all the way to the back, which is pretty difficult. So anyway, those are my plans for the future. I think on an acre you can do so much more than you would think. I definitely thought when we first bought this property we're going to be so limited, but I actually feel like now it's actually the perfect size to maintain for our family. Still think that we're able to grow all our own fruit, grow all our own vegetables, and grow our protein sources here. Even without the cow, if we didn't have the cow, we could depend on sheep, and that would be just great. So anyway, if you're looking at buying an acre, I think it's totally worth it. If you use the space efficiently and wisely, it's actually quite a lot of space. Okay, so that's all I have for you guys today. I hope that you guys have a great weekend, and I'm going to link another video that's coming next. If you like this video, please make sure to like and subscribe.